Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Catching Up with Cope podcast. Cope is the Coalition of Parents in Esports, a 501c3 nonprofit organization that provides programs and scholarships to empower youth, parents, and educators to utilize gaming to build confidence, curiosity, community, and careers. I'm your host, Friday, and today I am here with the co-founders of 4114, Ceice and Elevate. Thank you both so much for being here today.
What's up?
I'm so happy to kind of have this conversation with you. And so for anyone who doesn't know, you two were an iconic Fortnite duo. I kind of want to start here just because Elevate, you were a former pro, and then Ceice, you still play as a professional player for Outlaws, correct?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So I just kind of want to start off asking you guys how you both individually got into gaming and esports, and that can be including a Fortnite perspective, but just kind of from the beginning where your love for gaming started.
Yeah. You want to go first, Davis? Or
I think you got it.
All right. So the lore behind Elevate, my older brother played StarCraft way back in the day, and so he was definitely the introduction into competitive games. StarCraft was one of the first, esports, especially that was worldwide.
Yeah.
And so I was a big sports kid. I played every sport that was under the sun. But I'm not LeBron James, and I got injured and I was very slow after. My knees were I have 80-year-old knees on me.
Oh my God.
And so I had this pent up competitive drive that I had no outlet for. And it was right around that time I was playing competitive Minecraft, UHCs.
Yes.
Yeah, Bad Lion back in the day. I was elo grinding against Dante and Overwatch and stuff like that.
Oh my God,
There's a lot
crazy.
of mind men who transferred over, but that's a story for another time. And then eventually one of my I think HCF faction teammates was playing Counter-Strike. And so I just hopped on that, and it was an addiction because it was so cool. I just remember watching people like Stewie2K and Cloud9 win the Counter-Strike major back in the day, and I was screaming. And I hadn't been that passionate. I was super passionate about sports, but I hadn't been that passionate about something. And so right around the time that C9 won that major, I think just a few months later, Fortnite came out. And so all my friends at school were playing it, and I was kind of late because I was like, oh, CSGO is so much better. I was an alpha CSGO Chad. This one person, I just started dabbling in it with my friends, and then a person at school was like, yo, I think this person's better than you at Fortnite. And it was just over when someone said that. So ever since that day, I was grinding so hard. I smoked that kid. And after I smoked that kid, I was I lied and joined the scrim server. I said I was someone else and was able to stay in the pro server. And then eventually I was just good enough that they wouldn't kick me because I was getting results on leaderboards and stuff. So that's the Elevate lore from the start.
Okay, so uber competitive based on the fact that someone told you that someone else was better than you, and you said no, absolutely not.
Yeah, dude.
I'm gonna grind this game, and then you lied about your name in a server to stay in.
It was cutthroat, dude. The mods of the pro server back in the day, it was J-O-Mock and Zate and Myth. But they had all their gremlins, and they were power hungry, so they would kick people constantly.
I'm not surprised. That doesn't surprise me at all.
So, I was staying in at all costs. I knew that's where I needed to be.
I respect. You know what? I respect that hustle.
Yeah.
OG Fortnite first scrim Discord was definitely you had to. It was networking, but for 15-year-olds. It was you had to please the leaders.
My brother's in a Fortnite Discord that he's been in since forever. It's called Fishcord, and what? I don't know.
It's just a Fortnite cord name.
But the culture of that is I would go in because he would ask me to join and say hi or something, and then I would get kicked immediately. I wasn't even trying to stay in there, and I was immediately out. That's the culture of those Discords. Is you have to fight to stay in.
That is the Gremlin Discord. You don't want to be in that Discord.
Wait, you know Fishcore, Davis?
Of course I know Fishcore. You
Oh,
don't want
no.
to be in that Discord.
Well, I was kicked, so I will never be. But
wait, your brother.
so he used to go by the name Power, but now he just goes by like his like he doesn't really play anymore. But he was involved in like all the wagering stuff like that for a really long time. So what's it called? Because I technically stepping into this industry, I know of a lot of the Fortnite pros because of him, because
Yeah.
of the people that he was playing with and things like that. And then so now all of a sudden I'm like, you know, like I've heard your name, like I've heard your names before because it's like, you know, back then that was like his entire world. But I understand that culture of those discords, and it's kind of crazy and scary.
Fortnite culture is wild. I don't even know how it got to this point.
It is pretty wild. Having seen like, I mean, you've probably seen the culture of like other, yeah, obviously you've played other games, so you know the culture of like
Yeah.
other communities and things like that. But I do want to get Ceice. I do want to hear how you kind of got into gaming
Ceice lore.
and esports. Yeah, Ceice lore.
All right, yeah. So for me, it was it was H1Z1. I mean, before that it was like CS:GO, but on and on. I was just gaming, like Minecraft, CS:GO. I feel like those were just the games you would play at
Yeah.
our age, yeah, like 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever. So H1Z1 was a battle royale back in the day. So I played that for a long time. I think I just got into that game from watching Tyler One and Greek God, where they were like going back and forth, and it was just a funny game. I don't know where I saw it, but got into it, played it, wanted to go pro, but it was like super gate kept, more than Fortnite, and it was like 18 plus. Obviously, I was not 18. I was in high school, and so didn't work out. Competed, didn't really. I almost got my shot, didn't get my shot. The flight, I think the org backed out, so I was like about to go. My parents were okay with it. I was going to Sweden. They were hyped up.
Oh.
Org's like, yeah, we're out. So that was rough. But then yeah. So then comes Fortnite. Again, same thing with Hayden. Like it was, or similar, I would say. I didn't want to play Fortnite. I was like H1Z1s till I die. Like I will stay here. And then I installed it, uninstalled it, uninstalled it, and I was finally like, okay, fine, I'll give it a good try. And then kind of the same thing like Hayden, which is actually weird. I feel like we haven't actually shared these stories yet. But like yeah, I got into the Pro Scrims Discord also illegally through one of my old teammates on H1Z1 who transferred before me. His name was Payne, and he was like one of the founders, like one of the original founders, was like him, Jo, Myth, and then like I guess because he was like the bottom dog, they're like, hey, look, big dog's got to eat. You're out. I don't really know what happened to Payne. He kind of just was like the less remembered name. I don't think he ever just like stopped. It was just always like him, Myth, and Jo Mock, and obviously Myth, Jo Mock.
He also did too much work. I feel like he actually was constantly moderating and like putting in work to that server.
Yeah, he was. No, most definitely. I think with no disrespect to Payne, I don't think he'll take it like this. I don't think he cares. But like he probably was the power hungry one. I don't think Myth or Jo really cared. And he was like the one like, I got the power, but I'm gonna give him my time. Anyway, so got into the Discord illegally. I was like, honestly, we probably felt the same way. I didn't want to type in the chat because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. Like it was like people would ask you questions like, hey, like, when do you build for high ground? I'd be like, yeah, so high ground, technically you could do it multiple parts of the game.
Yeah.
But I was
very
like,
vague answer here. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very vague. And so I don't know how I ended up stumbling upon my teammates. Actually, no, wait, I do. Same kind of way. Just gaslighted them, say, oh yeah, I'm him.
Yeah.
And then I ended up bringing an old teammate from H1Z1. So like we came over, we found these people, and then that was my first start to getting into Fortnite. And then I mean, signing to Gangstars was another whole other thing. Just
Gangstars.
Cold calling, cold emailing random orgs back in the day.
There you
hey,
go.
Look, you're gonna pick up our team, and we got signed, baby, for $500 a month. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, okay.
We
I mean,
good.
a lot of like orgs these days, which I'm noticing, which I mean, I'm really getting introduced to the whole world, is like a lot of them, it's not even, there's like no payment at all. It's like you're just doing it to like get your name out there a bit more. So we'll take that $500. Yeah, to start off. Yeah, let's go. But that's crazy. And so and you had the similar experience of sort of kind of sneaking your way into a pro scrim Discord to be able to play with everyone and get your name sort of in there. And then how did you two meet?
The first time was we were brutal enemies. Dave's story.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. We were there's this tournament and it was like a 1v1 tournament. I forget who even hosted it. It was like a Fortnite Pro League hosted it. And pretty much it was like the old 1v1s back in the day where you'd like stop, you'd be like one block away from each other and you'd like ramp away and then you'd turn around and just 1v1 and you had to go up like 2 times before you could shoot. And I was like, me and Davis had made it really far. We were like in the top 3. I think it was like the 3rd place match or something like that, or like the semifinals. And I went up against Ceice, and I had smoked everyone before, but I knew Ceice was good, like, because I was in a friend group at the time. And they're like, "Oh, Dave's like Ceice is pretty good." And then so we went up against each other. And Davis beat me in like it was a super close match, but he beat me like overtime or like by 1, right?
Yeah.
But Davis was like leaving the ramp early. Like he would like we'd be like 3, 2, 1, and he would like go on like 1. So he kept like getting above me. And I was like pissed. And so I like showed everyone, I was like, dude, this guy's cheating. Everyone like in my friend group, like you know how Discords, the different Fortnite Discords, everyone was on my back.
Oh,
so they were all in my chat. I was having like a nervous meltdown at like 17. I was like, dude, I'm dead. My life's flashing before my eyes. They're all in my chat like, you cheater, you cheater, you cheater. On my head, I was like, dude, come on. I'm still also like that entire time frame, like I'm still like kind of not really, I'm not established at all. I'm like, I don't know how I'm here. How did I get here? I don't know.
Yeah,
the friend group I was in was like all of the biggest names in comp.
All the big dogs.
So all the big dogs, and then you see you're like fresh into this. That's crazy.
Yeah, so we're like, I don't even remember what the resolve was. I think the tourney admins were just like, yeah, it's whatever. And so, yeah, unlucky.
My POV was I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was doing the right thing.
You've admitted to me before that you knew you were cheating.
No.
Yes, you have. And so this is crazy that you were doing the right thing now, like 6, 7 years later.
I think that my view on it now is that I knew someone was up, but I was like, I had to just stick with the right thing. Like, okay, if you're cheating, like you're gonna say you're not cheating.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, objectively, yeah. Like, no one's gonna be like, yeah, I'm cheating.
We would have like a countdown, and you would see him leave like a full second early on someone.
That's the part where I'm saying I thought I wasn't cheating. I thought that was like what I was supposed to do. But yeah, no, it doesn't make it. Now looking back, I cheated. You got me. So that was our first ever time interacting with each other. And then I don't know where the gap was between us playing. I forget how long it was. Maybe a couple months or maybe a month.
It wasn't that long.
So
keep going. Yeah, he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, let's run it. Let's get some games in." I don't know what the exact words were, and I was like, "All right, I'll take this little young gun under my belt." At the time, I think Elevate tells us a lot, but like Elevate was like he was a little lower than me on the statue. You were.
I think that's only Davis' opinion.
No, Elevate. How much earn did you have? How much earn did you have when I started playing with you?
Yeah, but I was like probably the most promising person. I had the most hype in the court as an up-and-comer.
I also don't know the reasons why I was like, yeah, this guy could work. Like, I don't know. I really don't know why. I think you probably just convinced me. I think that's probably what it was.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't think anybody was like, yeah, you should play with Elevate. Like, I don't know that was the suggestion. I was just like, yeah.
It was honestly all Alpha Cord. They made the match. They were, because I was like, I was an IGL, so I needed a fragger, and I kept saying like, I had just came off playing with someone, Zate, who is also really, really smart. And so, hi Louis, sorry.
No, you're good.
So I needed like, someone who's brain dead, but not actually brain dead,
I know what you're saying.
Who would just fight. And so people were like, Davis is really, really good at fighting. But the thought around Ceice, was like, he was a good fighter, but like he didn't understand the game that well. And so that's why I was like, oh, this is good because I like if he buys in and I can just like tell him what to do, because he's a better fighter than me. Well, I don't know back then, but he was a really good fighter. Then so the chemistry was like there from thought, and then but it worked out better than I think any of us could imagine.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
enemies to friends. Like look at that look at that storyline.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great. And you know, it is sometimes as simple as literally just eventually being able to reach out and then just starting to play together. And if that chemistry is there, then it's gonna work. And I do want to talk about how that sort of translates into everything you're doing now. But I do want to ask, were your goals at the time, like when you guys had met, like were you like, I'm going pro in Fortnite, like this is what I want to do? Or was this like, this is just something I do for fun?
Oh yeah, I think our
Yeah.
goal. I think our goal probably, if you were to ask us, would probably be to get signed to like a big team.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my like myself back then that would have been my dream to be on like a FaZe or 100 Thieves or like some big org back then.
Yeah.
So that I mean, and yeah, we set out and we did that.
Yeah, I think especially back then you didn't understand, or you didn't know, you kind of knew like the prize money was really good, but no one really fully understood that you could just like live off the prize money. And so because of every other esports dream was to be on a big org,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like that was just what we had been watching for the last 5 years. It kind of led to that. So yeah, I think my motivation was definitely probably the same. It was like I want to get on a really, really big org. And I also have those emails. I can go back to my email and like go to some of my oldest sent emails, and it's like 80 different copy and pasted emails to like every single org. Like I can go screenshot it. It's like, yeah, pretty much anyone on Twitter. I'll just look up esports org and then go to like Wikipedia, just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, no, you were doing what you had to do to get onto a team, which was, you know, like you are both saying, like probably like that was the goal for you, was to be signed to an organization and, you know, play under that organization's name. And you both did. And Ceice, I know you still are. Did you feel any like additional, like, was there any sort of like additional pressure or anything when you guys were playing, like knowing that you're representing an organization? Because I know in some ways that's like, there's so many benefits to that. Like, you know, like you're signed with a huge org, like you get to represent them. But then was there ever like a pressure of like, oh, we need to perform the best that we can because we represent them as much as we represent ourselves?
I think there. I don't think there's any pressure like that. I think that it was honestly a flow of like in the moment, like it's just like it's like a you look back. I mean, it's been a while, so it's like it does look a little hazy. But like if you look back, you could it still looks like we were just doing our thing. Like I wasn't really I didn't even care what org really it was. 100 Thieves was a great point of for sure, but yeah, I mean, I was just doing my thing. I would have done it the same way anyway. But on top of that, I think we also had the confidence that we were, because when we got signed, we just won a LAN event, which was huge.
Yeah.
Like there was only a handful of them, and so like that, yeah, like doing that, like dude, we are the best team, of course. Like you know, not even we're like it was almost like when I feel like when we were signed to 100 Thieves, it was like, you know, they should have like they need us. Like we were the top dogs. Like we could have been anywhere, and we chose them. It's like it was like they're appreciative of us, which probably was kind of both the same. Like I was obviously it was nice to be with 100 Thieves, but yeah, no pressure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would 100%. We were riding the high of it. It felt like it kind of like just layers. So like once you become an even better professional, right? And you're doing even better things consistently, and you know, your game plan's all ironed out, then you get on a better org that's more ironed out, you know, with more attention on you. Like it kind of seemed like a natural progression. I was definitely, when I first joined 100 Thieves, I was streaming, and I think I was just like playing like ranked or like whatever ranked was back then. And Nate Shaw was in my chat. I did get nervous then because everyone was like, it was right when we got signed, so I had like 2,000 viewers, and I was like, I was low-key getting like, can I swear or no? I was low-key getting doggied on, and
Yeah.
And I knew Nachal was a chat. I was like, oh gosh. I like boxed
Yeah.
up and I was like, all right, I gotta dial in real quick.
No,
I'm pretty sure I lost that game, but
no, I totally hear you. And I also think it's really interesting that you know, both brought up this idea of like there being these, you know, levels where it's like you're signed to really any organization and then the natural progression is another org that's more fleshed out and more, you know, put together in certain ways. And I think I think oftentimes, at least I know I forget that like that is like a natural progression in a lot of industries, just like where you're working and what you do. And so I think it's really interesting that you point that out. I think it makes, you know, it makes a lot of sense. And so then I kind of want to ask you, like, there's two separate questions going on here. So Elevate, you are currently in college, correct?
yeah.
You still have another year?
Yeah, I still have 2 more semesters, yeah.
Okay. So even when was like, did you know that that was something you were going to do, like going to college, even when you were in the middle of your Fortnite journey? Or was this like, at some point you were just like, yeah, I'm going to do this?
It was definitely so the entire reason I was able to swap to online school, which was like directly when my career took off, was
Yeah.
because I like made a deal with my parents I would get good grades, and they were all of my family is really, really educated.
Hmm.
And so it was a really big deal to them to go to college. So it's definitely something I said as like, oh, I'm gonna game, and I knew going in esports. I talked about this on the panel, but I knew esports careers could be short and they're very volatile. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll go to college after. When I was young, I don't know if I actually meant those words.
Yeah.
I was
Heard.
like, definitely, I'm like, I'm gonna do this forever. Woo. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, after gaming, I mean, I definitely had a pretty rough 2 years of, kind of finding myself,
Hmm.
uh, figuring it out. It's weird. While everyone is going through these like natural progressions of like they're getting outside of their house with college, but college still really holds your hand. Like you're kind of forced into communities, you're in a dorm,
Hmm.
stuff like that, that a lot of people are used to. I was, alone in Virginia playing Fortnite 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the landing phase of post gaming was definitely rough for me. Now, I don't think that's scary for everyone. It was just, I particularly had a tough time with it.
Hmm.
And so college was definitely something I knew I should do, but I had to want to do it. And so I was kind of stuck in that, twilight zone for 2 years, figuring out
Yeah.
I know I should do this. Is this what I want to do? And so eventually I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that and move back home to West Lafayette, where Purdue is, where I grew up. And so I got back a lot of my friends, social circle, and then that like consistent going to do something daily. Um, at first, I always got good grades, but at first I didn't really care about it, through gen ed classes. But then once it
Yeah.
started getting like specified, I started really enjoying it. Um, and it really has served as kind of a backbone for me because now, I'm like able to wake up at 8 a.m., which sounds crazy, but when you haven't woken up at 8 a.m. in like
Yeah.
7 years, it's pretty hard to wake up at 8 a.m. So I'm just like, it kind of taught me a little bit more about discipline,
Hmm.
which, I was really lacking. So yeah, it's not something I always knew I'm doing, but I'm glad I found it and that, I am doing it and adding, tools to my future life's toolbox.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a really big decision. So like I get that it's something that, you know, you had to think about and see, you know, and see what sort of path you were gonna take next. And that idea of like building structure, I think I completely relate to that. That's something that I have also learned just from, you know, being in school and, you know, even now during the summer when it's like working internships and like that, I have to relearn the structure that I usually have during
Yeah.
the year and stuff like that and create what's gonna work for me in this moment. So I you know, I completely get that and props to you. And so then Ceice, you're still creating content. You know, you are still in it. You do have a channel called, isn't it Ceice's Thesis? Is that what it's called?
Oh, this is
Yeah,
So where did that inspiration come from? Because previously it wasn't all necessarily like informative content the same way that it is now. What was the, you know, inspiration behind that and where that comes from?
yeah. So I'll start with my journey from Fragger to IGL. It was honestly, this is probably pretty similar to Hayden's, and like he played with his 8 and he's like, I could do this. You know, he probably led some CS:GO randoms. Like, you know, I could do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of me. I was like, I play with the greatest IGLs. I play with Elevate, play with Riverson, Bizzle. It's like, I can do this. And I kind of was at the point where I was like, I'm not the greatest fragger. Got to be something. So I was like, all right, let's go IGL. And so I switched to IGL, and then of course, like the first few years, I mean, of course, I didn't plan to do Ceice thesis or any educational content. When you start IGLing, you don't think you're going to be the best. You're just trying to be something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that wasn't in my playbook to do educational stuff. But as the years went by, as I got smarter, as I just became more understanding of how to lead and how to be an IGL in Fortnite, I was like, you know what, I could do educational content. So dipped my toes in a couple years ago. And I think I actually dipped my toes in when I was on 100 Thieves, and then I, you know, kept kind of just feeling it out when I was on XSET, and then now on to Outlaws, and like now the last 7 months I've been really heavily, just consistently doing educational content, and it's definitely been a passion of mine to help people out. And yeah, so that's Ceice's thesis, but yeah,
so
that's my series.
No, it's great. I love it. And then and kind of adding on to the, you know, content creation in general, was that always something that just came with? Because I think a lot of people could just naturally just play the game and that's that, and, you know, be a pro because they're just really good. But was there like that additional content aspect? Like, were you always interested in that, or did that just naturally come with the fact that like this is how I stay in this game, this is how I stay in the industry as a whole?
Yeah, I think both. I kind of realized that you have to do content if you want to be like successful overall for a long amount of time. There's players like you said that are they're just pros, and I was that player, and so I've been through both, and like I realized content is the play. But I think also that paired with 100 Thieves and XSET and Outlaws just continuing to bring me out of my shell, and like at the time, most definitely I would give credit to 100 Thieves with the things that they did for us, but not only what they did for us and what they made us do. I guess what they made us do would be a big part of it. Was that like I didn't really care to do content. I didn't really care how I looked on the camera. I didn't really care how I was viewed on camera. I was just there. I didn't think about it at all. And so like they kind of forced me to do it. It was like, you know, your parents are just bringing you through it. Like, all right, fine, I'll show up. So that just kind of that them forcing me kind of just opened up my eyes to what content really is. And then so I think probably 3 or 4 years ago, I was like, well, okay, I got to start heavily leading into content. And then probably in the last like 2 years, maybe a year and a half, I was like, okay, like content is king, competitive is secondary. Or competitive is still very important because I mean, in Fortnite and in any pro game, you have to be good, in my opinion. I don't think that I will ever develop into the personality of like Courage JD, where like I'm just smiling on camera and laughing and just all of that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I hear you.
You really never know. So 5 years can change a lot. So, but yeah, I think that so I still feel like I have to be at the top, and I feel like educational Fortnite content makes sense for me still wanting to be at the top. So it just matches up together.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I do like that you said that you don't really know what can happen in 5 years, because that brings me to both of you creating 4114 and how you developed this gaming product, you know, company that's, you know, selling these high performance products. How did you get here? How did this happen? Is my question.
Yeah, so 3 years ago, I don't think I was completely done trying to go pro at Valorant, but I was definitely, you know, getting kind of burnt out of the whole cycle that I was in of getting a team. My players, I would play with like I would bring up some really, really good players, and like one of my team, 3 out of the 5 of my core got poached to EG, and so that was kind of rough.
Yeah, so that sounds kind of rough.
Yeah, I had that like a ton, like 3 or 4 times in a row over like 2 years, and so I really wanted to find something that I was passionate about, that, you know, could keep us around in gaming, that we could provide something to the community. and that's where I got a mouse pad in from a company, and I was like just trying it out, and I just was like, this is really uninspired, and I don't really think this is like what anyone wants at all. And so that just sparked the idea of like, I bet like I could probably make a pretty good one. Um, and so I went to Davis with the idea, and I'm a person who I always have a million ideas, so I'm always like, yo, I'm gonna do this, like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a great idea. And so I went to Davis, and Davis was like, yeah, that's a good idea, we should do that. And it was like, oh, whoa, like, okay. And then he
You
was
didn't
like,
expect that.
yeah, and I was like procrastinating on it because I wasn't that serious about it. And then Dave's like, oh, did you like file the LLC yet, or like, like, did you get our articles? Like, he would just like say, he would like add timelines to me doing stuff. And so like over the next 6 months, I just like kept, researching into that and doing it. And then like he was doing a ton of work too. Like, and
Yeah.
he just like kept moving the ball along and like letting us hit check marks. And then eventually I was like, wow, this is pretty an actual thing. And we're actually doing this, and we have samples that are coming in that we're feeling. And yeah, I mean, from there, Davis, you want to take it away? That's kind of like the first year.
Yeah, I think from my side, it was definitely I was like, all right, I'll drag the boat. I'll
Yeah.
I'll pick up the logs. 'Cause
Fully operation.
I mean, of course, we were both still doing a lot, but yeah, it was definitely. I mean, we on that same note, like I didn't like we're new to this. Like we were just like learning as we'd go. We're just doing what we feel like would be the right move.
Yeah.
And so, of course, there's been a lot of mistakes, but but yeah, and then now here we are with a product and more to come.
No, absolutely. And I think I really do want to kind of touch on this aspect of the fact that like of how you two are working together, because I think going from being Fortnite duos like to being friends and then to being business partners, and you guys are still friends, like that's not saying that it's not possible, obviously, with a lot of people, but like truly, I mean, I don't know about you two, but I've been with my fair share of like partners for group projects in school, and it's like not good. Like we don't work well together. I have friends who I don't work well with together. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't always find someone, even if they are a close friend of yours, that you work well with. Well, like, what is that like for you both to, kind of be able to bounce ideas off each other? One of you hold each other accountable, like having that sort of dynamic, but also being friends and, having this competitive past too. Like, I think that makes you fabulous business partners, and that shows. But for some people, that doesn't happen. So what's that like for you guys to be able to sort of sustain that?
It's awesome. I feel like number one thing that has carried over is trust. I think that we both trust each other, that we're gonna work hard. We both trust each other that we're gonna do the right thing. We both trust each other. Like it just goes on, and like so. I think that is really like, I mean, if you use the school project as an example, like you really don't know this person. You really don't know them that well, and you may even also see things. I think we see things in each other that we would say are very positive traits. Like Hayden's a very hardworking guy. He's a very he's very strongly opinionated, and so it's like when you can see very positive traits. But some people, you work with a random person in your class, like this guy is like showing up late, he's doing this, he's doing that. So you're already kind of starting off on the wrong foot. But so yeah, that experience in the past, obviously us playing together, and I mean we've been at it for a while. I feel like I've had a trillion conversations with Hayden, so it's like it just feels natural.
Yeah, I kind of two parts. I think the intrapersonal is like me and Davis, we used to argue like brothers when we played, like all the time. We were like kind of at each other's, like we just the way we like communicate what we think we should do in game was like kind of aggressive, but it like worked for us. Like we would stream and we would just be like screaming at each other. And we'd like end stream and it'd be like, but we would like scrims would end and we would like be bros. Like it was just kind of weird. We were always weird, and people always kind of like made fun of that or like didn't get it, and it was fine because it like we were winning tournaments and beating them. So but and then there's like the business side of it which is, I think, one, we've matured a lot. So like when we get frustrated, we don't let it boil to like screaming at each other, but like we still like get our opinions out. I just think we've ironed out getting our opinions out to each other so many
Mm-hmm.
times that it's like, oh, this is just how it is. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much trust if you really boil it down. And then the second part is when we started getting like contractors and people on the team, uh, that when 4 and 4 started to grow bigger than just us two, we definitely had like imposter syndrome for a little bit. Like we're like, at least I did. And so like it led to us really kind of reading up on leadership and stuff like that. And there's a book I loved, like business game theory. I don't know. It's like a super niche subset sect if someone understands what I'm saying. But there's this book called The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek, and so we modeled.
Love.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking. I haven't read that book, but I know who you're talking. I
yeah.
know
Simon
Simon
Sinek's
Sinek.
great. Yeah, he
Yeah.
has a lot of really really good stuff. Um, and he talks about like just different business structures. And so we both read that book and kind of studied it pretty deeply. And so we set our where someone we have the like CMO or like pretty much Davis is on like better with time and getting people to do stuff and keeping the ball moving, and just like grinding out tasks that I
Yeah.
really struggle with. I always like I'll like find something the more fun thing to do almost. And so like that's like Davis's role of us. We don't have like two co-owners or CEO and
Mm-hmm.
CFO. So that's his job and I'm the CVO. So I'm always focused on our future. So I'm like that ends up being like a lot of the media stuff when we're like doing a drop, all of the hype and all of the strategy behind the marketing, like how we want the community to feel about the product. Um, what are the strengths of the product? What strengths do we want to promote of the product? How are we different? What's going to stick? Stuff like that. I'm focusing on. And so it's like, I don't know. It's just it's like the same way we found efficiencies in our gameplay. It kind of
Mm.
feels like we tried to find and found those efficiency in our business where it's, Davis is moving that ball forward pretty much every day. And then eventually that ball meets up with me with preparation. And so we're prepared going into our stuff. And so hopefully it leads to success. But, it's just cool because we like VOD reviewed business.
Yeah. Pod review business. I love
Yeah.
it. No, I think that's great. And you guys are playing to your strengths and seems like you've really developed a structure for the two of you. And then overall, for the company that really works for you and makes things that you feel, represent, what you're trying to say and what your mission is. And I think that's wonderful. And I kind of also want to ask a bit about, like your mission, your values, what the design process is like for you both, because the designs, like what was the inspiration behind, the design elements, the visuals to the product, because like your products are so cool, like visually amazing. Because also you talk about performance and, being someone who's able to, you took a look at a product and use of a product back when you were gaming and you were like, yeah, this isn't great for pro gamers. Like this is not gonna, there could be
Yeah.
better. So like on top of that aspect of like, usability, the visuals too. Like where is the inspiration for, what your products look like?
Yeah. You want me to take this, David? It's kind of my.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think. Well, one, obviously, I'll start with like just inspired by 100 Thieves upper echelon. I don't want to say we like were inspired by them and tried to copy anything, but they like the base theory of adding a level of quality and design to gaming and
Mm-hmm.
understanding gaming will
Yeah.
actually accept that. um I really learned that. We both learned that deeply at 100 Thieves, so I think there was a bar we just had to hit internally to even be acceptable because their bar is so high. And so a lot of fashion for me was kind of behind the design elements. I wanted something different. There's like within the peripheral community, there's like a big like waifu pad thing right now going on where like you make like a different character and then like she's doing whatever and
Yeah.
you make it a different color and then you ship it and it sells like hotcakes. It sells so
Yeah.
well. And
Yep.
so we were kind of just like, I want to just be different. And like, I am
Yeah.
always like that. And sometimes it doesn't pay off, but it worked in this one because I wanted something that was kind of simplistic, in your face, but, incredibly clean at the same time. And if you look at like the fragment design, which is the head that's like cut up, there's nothing in the background. It's all in the foreground. It's very like front and center. It's iconic. You can see it. And it like that is the same thought process then when you look at our logo. It's like incredibly clean lines. Everything is, in a perfect square.
Yeah.
Everything lines up. It's all very I forget the word, but yeah, we wanted that, premium feel, and something different, and so it kind of carried over into our design. And our next stuff is very kind of takes that ball and I feel like just kind of pushes it another step. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, like visually, it's like looks so cool. So that's why I wanted to ask that.
Thanks.
Of course, that question, see where that sort of inspiration came from, and then so Ceice, you run some more of like the operational aspects um, of the company. Where is there like a? Do you feel like there's a place where like those sort of skills came from? Like, did that ever come from when you were duos and the things that you had to plan for the two of you to like, did you ever feel that there was somewhere where that skill came into play that then carried over and into the
Yeah,
business,
definitely.
or did it just like happen, you were like, yeah, I'm good at this?
I think I'm actually curious what Hayden thinks, but I feel like back when we were playing as a fragger, I feel like I always did the extra steps that would just
Mm,
like you didn't really need the fragger to do because it's always still it's even still in Fortnite. It's like you still want the IGL to be doing most of the studying, most of the like
yeah.
he's leading the team. He needs to know the most. But I feel like even when we were playing, I was doing the weird steps, or I was just putting in extra time to like just know those little quirky details, and then switching to IGLing, I was like, now I have to take over. I have to do that, and I have to do what Hayden used to do.
Yeah.
I have to study other teams and like learn from other players, and so I'm doing even more of that. And then of course like that has been training me basically for the last 4 years. I'm not going to say I'm running the company off of just Fortnite knowledge, but of course on top of all that, I mean I'm studying up, I'm reading, I'm
Yeah.
learning as much as I can about leadership and how to run efficiently, how to run smoothly, and so all that paired together, I think is putting me where I'm at, and still a lot to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What were you gonna speak to
Sorry.
that? No, go for it. No, go,
Yeah.
go, go. Speak.
No, it was definitely when we were playing, I was a idea person. I would watch like I watched so many teams. I had so many hours in the VODs. But Davis and really no one else I've ever played with was so into systems. It
Mm,
was it was crazy and that he thrived in them. So it was like our when we were playing Fortnite back then, it was all systems. Like
yeah.
we had every engagement we took, we had like Davis had set out a system of like what we were to do when we're fighting that. And then
Mm-hmm.
when we would lose those fights, we would watch them and then we would make adjustments or be like, you didn't do the system. And they weren't called systems, but we
Yeah.
had that for everything. Like taking height, we had our exact step-by-step plan and system. And then when that didn't work, we would go. And so like going into World Cup, we had our game plan that like this is where we're gonna go, this is where we're gonna get our surge, this is like every single system, these are all the people around us. And so that's a different story, but yeah, and he really thrived in those, and it's like he could set those. He just has a brain for like creating those
Yeah.
quickly and efficiently, and then also following them. Where it's like I could create them, but I wouldn't follow them, and like that's just a huge step in itself. So it's just you know I feel like he just thrived within that in gaming.
Yeah. I mean, we're always in this industry talking about transferable skills and where things
Yeah.
can be applied in different areas. So like I think it makes 100% sense that there's, those sorts of things kind of coming into play like that. And building those, because I relate to being able to build those systems. I'm less so of the idea person like you are, and more so the person that thinks like, okay, so like that's not gonna happen, but like here's what we do if we do find ourselves in that situation, and laying that sort of thing out. So I think that's great. And I want to talk about like the importance to you both about customer feedback, or like the use of your products, and then like how that sort of plays into your process of what you create, or what you don't really sort of like decide not to follow through with because maybe someone was unsatisfied. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does customer feedback play into what you both do for the company and your process?
Yeah, I think at the start it was we were the customers, and I think that we have like that perspective of buying products, but also getting sent products. Also, I mean, knowing what the pros like knowing what our friends like, what they review.
Yeah.
So that, but then on top of that, we formed a community from the community of
Yeah.
people that are very knowledge and that can give us more direct feedback. And I think that we've learned a lot from them alone.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah,
don't know if
sorry,
you
my
had anything
dog
to
is
add.
going. Yeah,
No,
my
you're
dog's going turbo right now.
you are so fine. Don't like literally don't even worry about it. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that, or if not,
No,
that's
I mean,
okay.
yeah, just
That's
exactly
what
what
it is.
Davis said.
Yeah.
We were the customers, so making sure no matter how, if we are successful or where we get to, just remembering that foundation of we do deep down know what we want, and we were that customer, and so we need to be true to that. And I think
Yeah.
that's unique within I don't think a lot of people running the companies, can say that same part,
Yeah, I think that in like there's kind of like two aspects I really think about when hearing you talk about this is the idea of you being the customer. So it's like one thing if you're, making a product which like, you can use and, you're not like an expert on or anything, but you both have been playing games for a long time and you've been playing professionally. So it's like you have that entire other level to be able to kind of take from what you've kind of experimented with and things like that, that will then, provide information before you bring it to like someone else, like one of your friends or something like that. Like you really do have that firsthand knowledge of what you are looking for, and you're like qualified enough, I would say, to be able to like test your own product at first like that. And I think that, I mean, a lot of companies are like entirely like player first, like, you know what I'm saying? And like the people that they hire at their companies are people who actively, consume the product that they're making. So it's like, it's that sort of thing. And I think it's really great, I think, to the business structure and to really knowing what people want and being able to listen. Because if people aren't, if companies aren't going to listen to what their customers are saying to them, then they're going to fall short. And so that's where I think you guys, you have that, like leg up in the industry. And I want to kind of then ask you, since kind of talking about going from gaming into the business, like, is there something you didn't expect about entrepreneurship that you all of a sudden are discovering, or any like sort of kind of bumps in the road to making a business?
I'll let Davis take that one.
I would say things that I didn't expect would be I don't know. I think it maybe sounds stupid to not expect that you can't develop a perfect product yourself. Like, but I think there's a confidence that like we could, and like that's where we got where we are today. That's how we got to
Yeah.
where we are today. Is we're like we can make a good product, but then like now that we have a bigger team, we're like learning like wait a minute, like we like pulled the needle out the haystack. We found that needle and we
Yeah.
turned it into a mouse pad essentially. It's like, but there's still so much more you can do. And so that has been a big learning moment for me. Is like, wow, I thought that, our pro direction, our experience would be like, this would be the leading factor of like how to make the best, but then there's so much to it. And so that's been really fun learning, how to make it even better.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'd say. It's yeah, pretty much that same thing. We have had a product, and they humble me consistently on just how much information there is about it, and kind of mixing that. We have the unique pro perspective. There's a lot of people who are like very into peripherals who are making peripherals, and
Yeah.
so adding that level of like being able to game test it and leading the theory with a mesh between all the materials that go into it. The science is how I like to say it. The science that goes into it mixed with the actual knowledge and feel of what goes into it has been good. And that's kind of where 4 and 4 is going forward on the product side.
Yeah, definitely. What was it like? And what was it like building like a team out? Like, did you have any idea of like what sorts of like team, because every business is different, every structure is different.
Yeah.
Like, were you like, we're gonna need this, and then you ended up having like two of those people? Like, did
Yeah.
you guys know like going into it who you were gonna need?
Did.
I think that I definitely not. But I think that also we have came into that we're like, wait, this is like we've got some clashing. People can do the same things. So like
Mm,
we've learned that side of things very quickly. But I think that also we've been incredibly blessed with the people that have been with us since the
yeah.
start. I mean, Will, who is like our head of design, who is just an absolute dog. Like he is very, very talented and very driven. And like, yeah, I mean, you really, I want to say like that we really wouldn't be where we are today if everyone didn't pitch in. I think that like if we didn't have a Will and we had a Tom and the Tom didn't really care and he was out and we had to search for another Tom, we would have been down bad. I think
Yeah.
it would have been rough. It would have been a lot harder. And same thing with like our Jacob. If we didn't have a Jacob, it would have been a lot harder. It's like he's taught us a lot and we've like done a lot with Jacob here. And if we
Yeah.
didn't have him, I don't know. So I think that we've been very lucky, but maybe Hayden thinks differently.
No, 100%. I think we've been lucky with a pretty like even disparity of like mistakes to success, and I don't think mistake is the right word at all.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we were talking to people and like we didn't really even need that position, or we just really need to restructure or like, and not in the bad way of restructuring, but we actually, but yeah, in entrepreneurship, you wear like a trillion different hats. Like I will wake up and I will do our QuickBooks for 2 hours and then I will move
Love.
on and
Yes.
do, and then I will hop in a meeting about our designs, and then I'm spending an hour in a meeting with our upcoming like media that we're creating for a launch. And it's just like
Yeah.
that's like just that's 4 different jobs of people like in a bigger company. Like those are 4 distinct jobs. And
Yeah.
and you're kind of just doing them all. And so it's really hard to get workers or team members who want to do that, one, and two, even have the ability to wear many hats, because that's what you need as a startup. You don't need one chief marketing and they do like just marketing. Like
Yeah, you
you
need
need
someone
like
to.
yeah, like we needed someone who
Absolutely.
could like make graphics and then post them. And like
Yeah.
that's like you need a bunch of jack of all trades who really do believe in the mission and do believe in the future. And that's
Mm-hmm.
super hard and also super dangerous for the people working for us and the team members, because how many people have said that to them, how many startups fail, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
understanding we have to do right by them is like absolutely the first key. And just leading with gratefulness of understanding, you know, wow, we do have people who are bought in who believe in this just as much as we do as the owners who have the money in it, right? And so
Yeah.
that's a really, really special place and beautiful place to be in. So yeah.
Absolutely. I 1,000% agree, especially as someone who's seeing the industry right now, literally from the level of like a lot of these companies are going to be startups. Just because it's like that we live in the creator economy where, so many people are finding themselves in entrepreneurial positions and things like that. And it's that idea of having a team who's like taking that risk with you because they believe in you and they trust you. And I think that says a lot to you two as leaders and the co-founders of 4114, that they trust you, that what you're building and what you can help them with, and those sorts of things. It's like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, like that sort of thing. Like, you guys are kind of all there for each other in that sense. And so I think that it's super awesome that you bring that up. And I do want to ask, like, I mean, we can even include this or not include this, but because I'm thinking like business structure, things like that. Not like, do you not like what the like the sort of structure around like because people have like the 9 to 5 where they work from 9 to 5. Do you all operate on that sort of like, what's your is it just kind of like people get their work done when they do their work, like they've done their
Yeah.
work?
Yeah, so I mean, again, understanding our position of a startup and we're not like a super attractive job, we kind of knew that going into like picking up people.
Yeah.
So like we offer pretty much as much flexibility as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
We have our meeting dates, and so like we set and we do our powwows how many times a week. We always have our like total team meeting on Monday, where that's you just kind of go over. It's like a huddle. You just go over what we're trying to
Yeah.
accomplish that week, what's in the near future, and then we have like a bunch of vision meetings, which is like kind of the long future. And then all the different subsects have like different individual meetings. But outside of that, it's kind of a lot of free time work and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like we are, we're hopefully eventually we could get to the place where like we can offer really great salaries and stuff like that, but it's like we offer flexibility out of the fact that we can't do that, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so we have like I'm in college, right? So like I'll have my meetings and then I'll have my work I have to do, and I'll do my classes during the day. It's not very stressful. And then when I have, that's an hour, 3 hours to put away, I'll go do that. It's like, kind of our organization structure. And then if people aren't getting stuff done, it's one, so
Oh,
it's really easy to just be like, Louis going crazy. I'm sorry.
No,
It's
you were kind of cutting out, but I think you're good now.
okay. So it's easy to just like talk to someone and be like, hey, what's going on? And we're like, I've literally told Davis before, like, hey, I'm kind of burnt out right now. And like, I just like pretty much like took a really light week, and like we'll be like, oh, what can I do to help? Like everyone says
Yeah.
that. So it's like if our creative director Will, if he's burnt out, then I'll go and be like, okay, what can I outsource? Like, are there just simple social media posts? Because I can totally, there's a million people in esports. I can totally go do that. So you don't have to focus on that. Or it's like, hey, I really need to focus on the website this week. I'm super overwhelmed. Okay.
Yeah.
Or like I'll outsource this project. No big deal. So yeah.
Absolutely. That kind of brings me on to my next question, which is about like work-life balance, because there is that aspect of like when you are running a startup, like that being the main thing that you're doing when you're not, doing whatever else you're doing. And also because Ceice, you're still a professional gamer, so you're still, I mean, because a lot of people use gaming as their like balance in their, in their work, in that whole like work life area.
yep.
And so I'm sort of wondering, like, Elevate, you can speak to this as well, but like Ceice, what is it like for you when you're thinking about work life balance? Because part of your work is also like something that a lot of people would consider to be their life balance.
True. Yeah. For me, it's definitely been a learning curve because before this, it was just gaming. I'd wake up. That was my day to day was just gaming, and you know, so yeah, for me, it's been my day. No, my day to day looks like now is wake up, still kind of late. 10, 11 a.m.
Love.
Yeah, 10, 11 a.m. from like 11 to 3 to 4 p. Actually, I would say 11 to 4 is like I can allocate that time. All the 414, I can do, a podcast in 414. I can do whatever. Like that is like work. I can do a bit of content here and there. I could split up in half and half, but like that is like business brain toggle on.
Yeah.
4 to like 10 p.m. competitive scrims, practice, study, maybe a bit more content streaming. Like that is that side, and then I just kind of rinse repeat it. And some days, I definitely feel like Mondays are days where I'm like, today is just like business. I just got to knock everything out. I got to catch myself up because there is. I mean, there's a side to it where you definitely can like do a bunch of things, like you can front load it, do a bunch of things on Monday,
Yeah.
kind of have a free Tuesday, then like, so I kind of have to space my weeks out like that based off of the tournament schedule, what I'm playing. Like for example, there's a big qualifier coming up this weekend, so I'm like trying to get everything done earlier in the week so I can let my brain relax and try to just focus on competitive at the end of the week.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of playing around with it, but overall, yeah, I mean, you have to dedicate more time to business side of things, especially earlier in the day when everyone's still up and active. It just works out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good luck on that qualifier as well. I want to say that.
Thank you.
but no, I completely like hear you. And sometimes it is about switching up, like front loading things in the beginning of the week so that you can have, a lot more time to focus on other things that you need to do at the end of the week. That might be, a completely different, section of what you do. And then other days, maybe it is, splitting it half and half or splitting it, however you split it. So I think that's, kind of switching it up when you need to switch it up, and like what feels right for you, I think is like huge to being able to consistently do, what you do. And Elevate, what is that like for you, that work-life balance, school life?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same as Davis. It's just instead of Fortnite, I have like college and work and stuff like
Class,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
No,
So
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Structuring helps a lot, and then also just kind of looking at, I feel like a million people said, but just looking at like what you do as like free time, and like we definitely live in a hustle culture, and I don't think that's like
Mm-hmm.
super perfect. So you definitely do need to wind down. But
Yeah.
a big thing, like just uh like dopamine hacking my brain to being like, okay, so this is for these 4 hours I'm going to study, and then these next 4 hours I'm going to take meetings and make sure everything's moving forward with 4 and 4, and then that brings me to 4 p.m. I'm gonna go have a nice dinner, and then when I get home, I'm gonna check emails and stuff like that and make sure nothing is emergency. And then I'm going to sorry.
No, you're
Uh,
good.
and then entertainment then comes. And so it's like that dopamine reward of entertainment is like, that's what is driving me throughout the day. It's like, oh, okay, I know I want to play college football 25 right now, but I can't until I get my stuff done. And then when I get my stuff
Yeah.
done, playing the game feels so much better anyways. So
No,
yeah.
100%. When you're like, once you get everything done off like that mental checklist that you have, like then you can actually enjoy it, and you feel like you're not like, cause like sometimes, at least I know for me, like if I don't do everything I need to do, but then I like play something like a video game, like I'll not feel as good about it, cause I'm like, oh, but you still have that like one paper to write that like you could be working on right now, and then save the game till after. So I think
Yeah.
I think that's super important. And so lastly, a little game of hot seat. It's not crazy. It's not like when I say like these are just like little fun questions. Ceice, you and I talked about this briefly, so I'm gonna ask you again because now we're on the clock here. It has to do with if pineapple belongs on pizza. Honest opinions, honest thoughts.
No.
Hard no from Ceice.
if Hayden says a different answer,
no,
he's cut off. He's done.
No, it does not belong on. Oh my god, dude, sorry. It's pineapple does not belong on pizza.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gross, and it's a fruit, and no other fruit goes
No
on
fruit.
pizza.
You don't put apple on a pizza.
Oh my god, interesting. I don't know why like blueberry on pizza would actually be like horrendous. That's like terrible. But we were also, Ceice and I, Elevate, before you got on the call, we were talking about how like I've never craved that taste of like pine. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I can have it, but I've never been like sitting here like, ooh, I just really want pineapple on my pizza right now. Like I've craved like a piece of cheese pizza before, but like never like
should definitely be scored in the
craveability.
The topping should be on a pizza.
I think I would only eat pineapple on pizza if I was nothing else. If they just kept serving me it, I'd be like, okay.
That's all they had.
I've definitely been like at an event and like everyone horks down the pepperoni and the cheese, and it's like only that pineapple's left there, and it's like kind of not hot anymore. And you're like,
I would just scrape it off. I'm not gonna lie. I would just scrape it off.
I probably did. Or I would eat. I like pineapple, so I'll just take it off and eat the pineapple and then eat the pizza. But I don't know.
You could do that. Do you do cold pizza ever? I like cold pizza. That could be crazy.
I hate that.
Really?
I hate cold pizza.
I love it.
I hate foods that should be cold being hot, or vice versa. Like,
like cold soup.
A cold food. Yeah, I can't do like cold soup. I feel like that's just wrong, and it just like.
I think I just gotta be in the mood. I gotta be in the mood for some just cold food that's supposed to be hot. I don't know. I'll eat cold pizza. Yeah, if it does, honestly, it does feel like you're homeless when you eat it. So like, it does feel like you're just like, what am I doing? Like, I have a microwave right here.
Because you have a microwave to be able to like heat it up if you want to. So it's like, why wouldn't I? Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. Okay, so the next question. You're deserted on an island. You can only bring 3 things. What do you bring? Anything. You don't have like it does not have to be logical. Like it could be like
come on, Hayden. Anything. Dog.
I'm not bringing you.
Come on.
Because we'd starve and then I'd eat you. I'd win the 1v1.
He said if it comes down to it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, bro. You gotta go.
So he's actually saving you. So you're actually saving him by not bringing him.
Yeah, exactly. That's why.
That's what I'm hearing.
I don't know. My brain is so sweaty that I want to have the perfect answer. So this is like such a trap question for me.
It's okay if you can't answer. It's okay.
I know what I bring.
There's like I know one is like you want like a magnifying glass or like a shard of glass. That's like OP.
Ooh.
You can burn stuff. You could like signal things.
Yeah,
you can cut things
okay.
with it. It's like a multi-tool.
You did say logical here. Okay.
I don't know. Food. Okay, I'm just gonna go happy. I'm gonna bring my dog.
Yes.
A gaming setup and a diesel generator. I'm gonna be set, bro.
Okay.
What about fuel? How you gonna generate?
It's gonna be a full diesel generator, a solar panel. There you go.
Solar panel. Okay.
There you go.
I think for me, I think I would bring a water purifying system so I could always have clean water.
You had more time than me.
Dude, that's just something to live with. I'd bring a boat. Can I bring a boat?
You know what?
Cheating.
Is it cheating? I mean, you know what? No one's ever said a boat, so like, or a plane, or like anything that could get them off said island.
I think I think if I didn't have a boat, I would bring a water purifying system. Just could be like one of the straws. It could be super basic. I'd bring an axe, something basic, or it could be expensive. I'd take the world's best axe. I'd bring an axe. And then I would bring I'd probably bring Hayden just to torture him, to make him just be there with me.
Yeah.
I feel like
you're like, if I have to suffer.
Yeah, with only a straw for water and an axe, we would do some crazy things. We would do crazy things.
I will say though, I mean, you wasted one because like you're just gonna boil the water, to get the salt out of it. So you'd rather have someone that starts a fire so you could cook for it. Bet you didn't think about that one.
You can always start a fire.
Whoa.
Water. If no water, you're dead.
True.
Yeah, but if you start a fire, you're on an island. You got water all around you. You just gotta boil.
How are you gonna boil it? And what?
With fire.
And where are you putting the water in?
What? The salt drops off. You boil the salt out.
Where are you? How are you?
It's in the pot. It's in the pot.
What pot?
Okay, then we bring a pot.
So you're gonna bring a pot to boil water. You're gonna bring a pot, a fire, and me.
Why you? Why did you add yourself? I don't want you.
3 items.
He wants you to bring him so badly.
I want my dog, dude.
Crazy. Okay, those are good answers. I love them. Next question. If you could turn any game into an esport, what would it be and why? Like specifically something you can play competitive. Like for me, Animal Crossing. Right away. I would love an Animal Crossing. I don't even know what the competition would be, but sign me up, get me on the stage. Like LAN, I'm ready for it. You know what I'm saying?
I would be beast at Animal Crossing. That actually would be pretty fun. I have like my island, I'm sweaty with AC, dude. I have like
oh my god.
My current island is like a city core mixed with like beach core.
Love.
And it's like I got the white and like the off blue aesthetic going on. I got like the fake oceans.
I just know your island's better than mine. Like I can just already tell.
So
like
sweaty at I have like.
Have you ever been to Treasure Islands?
Of course, dude.
Okay, thank God. Okay, because I always feel
that's okay. I played the game legit for a long time, but now that I literally just care about like building a dope island, and so now I just cheat constantly.
Me too. That's been me. Do you care about what villagers you have on your island?
Oh yeah, I got my dreamies, dude.
Yes.
I go color combo though, so I don't I love Probably Maple's my favorite like character.
Love.
Yeah,
She's a
but
sweetie.
I'll do like a bunch of like off-white and light blue, like Sherb. I got Sherb on that
Oh, I
island.
have Sherb too.
So
We
I
love
do
Sherb
like
here.
I do like color combos with it, but
Okay,
that would be
real.
sick if you had like a judge panel and they like
Like
rated islands. There's some crazy
I'd live
the
for that.
YouTubes though, like dude, they're so sweaty.
I
It's
know.
crazy.
I know. People go crazy on that game. So is your answer Animal Crossing? Or is
Yeah,
it
I'm
okay?
agreeing with you. Animal Crossing would be dope.
Let's go. Ceice, how about you?
Okay. Has to try to think about it. No, that's already been a competitive game. This would be crazy. I would say okay, there's probably a bunch of options out there, but Outlast, like the horror game, some version of that, but competitive. Imagine you're playing competitive, but like you're trying not to get jump scared, but you're getting jump scared. Like if you play thousands of hours of it, you probably know where everything is at, but the competitiveness would be they would make it
Next
a different
level.
map.
Yeah.
So it'd be random.
So it's
you'd be trying to
random.
compete.
Bro,
I
put
like
like a
that.
heart rate monitor on them.
Yes.
Give them like heart rate points if
Ooh.
they like keep it like zone 2.
They have to keep yeah.
They're gonna have a couple beers, just like they try to just chairs lounging.
I like that a lot.
They're
So
pumping it up, dude.
I'm absolutely here for competitive Outlast. I like that a lot. Okay, and then we did just talk about fruit. So you're not neither of you are allergic to fruit, right? Okay,
Nope.
Perfect. Because my question is, what fruit would you be and why? And I just wanted to make sure that you could actually eat fruit before I asked that question.
I already know. I would be a peach.
Ooh.
I'd want to not like that.
Wait a minute.
Not like that. No, I just love peaches, and I feel like I would want to bring the joy to somebody else to eat me.
Yeah.
Like that would be a joy. What? Dude, it's a joyful experience of biting into a nice, like a good peach is crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
I'd let them eat me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Come on,
Yep.
Peach. Yes. That was a good answer. You cooked with that. Elevate.
Let's see. Does a cucumber count?
No. It would be a watermelon.
Ooh. Okay.
I love watermelon. I had
Real.
watermelon birthday cake because I didn't like cake, but I like watermelon. So.
That's
Yeah,
actually sick.
It's flavored like watermelon?
No, like a watermelon.
No, it's like a watermelon.
My mom would just cut it into a big square and then she would stick candles in it and then
I've seen that.
eat it.
That is weird.
I like watermelon, dude, a lot.
Watermelon's good, but
it is. I had some today. It's great.
Yeah, I just cut them in half and then I just get a spoon and I just
on your one day of the year, you pick anything you want.
Yeah,
one of that.
Yeah, I love watermelon. It's also in January, so it's out of season, so it's a bit of a sweet treat.
Oh, love a little sweet treat. Love.
Watermelon's good.
Always need. And then my last question for you both is your favorite video game and then your favorite esport. And so that can be the same thing or it could be two different things. Obviously.
I think my favorite video game, it has to be Fortnite.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say, wait. I was gonna say.
I think that, I think 30 years down the road, it'll be the same game, very similar game. It's never gonna go away. I don't believe it will. And yeah, I think it's got to be that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Esport, Fortnite.
Favorite esport? I think my favorite esport is probably CS:GO.
Yeah.
Or Valorant. I think they're both. I mean, it's like that 5v5 shooter. They're very similar.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would say CS:GO. I'm not thinking about it. I think Valorant is just leads into too much casual, and I want to like celebrate with like hard, like people that are like they like guts and blood and bullets, and like Valorant's like you're shooting like pixel guns at them. You're like, oh, like it's the same game, but
yeah,
we don't. We say eliminated. You say died.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
Yeah, I think CS:GO.
Yeah.
That's esport.
This is hard. I think it's disingenuous not to say Fortnite for me because like just what it did for my life as a video game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like my favorite video game of all time, it would probably be between Counter-Strike and Valorant. I really, really did love Valorant, like when I was playing that competitively. Or Minecraft. Oh, this is hard. I don't know, to be honest. I kind of have a like 4-way tie.
Yeah.
Like Minecraft, Counter-Strike, Valorant, Fortnite. It's kind of like
Okay.
they're all like iconic to me. I don't know. I would probably choose probably Counter-Strike just because
Okay.
where like that was the OG game that I loved, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all really good. And then esport, I definitely watch the most Valorant.
Me too.
I
Right
have
there with you.
like yeah, it's like everyone it's also different for me though. I don't know. It's like everyone in challengers I've either played with or played against. And a
Okay.
lot of the people in VCT like I'm good friends with.
Yeah.
So like it's a lot of like I don't know. I like watching the homies succeed,
You're supporting them. Yeah. No, of
Yeah.
course.
So like I don't know. I get hyped. Like watching Jogamo play, like that always like I watch
Yeah.
like every one of his matches. I'm like the old man who's like retired from the football team. Like watching like I love watching
Watching the
him
buddies.
succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like cool seeing people and like you knew them way back in the day when they were just like no one else knew them. Like they were just like just normal dudes, and now like seeing
Yeah.
them, they had the same dream as me, and like them
Mm-hmm.
achieving it because like I got to do that
Absolutely.
Fortnite. So it's like I don't know, that's really fun, and
It's
I don't get that
bittersweet.
with
No, I
any
get
other
it.
esport. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Great answers all around from you two for my hot seat questions. I told you they weren't going to be that crazy. Like I don't know why I get scared because sometimes I watch like other people do like hot seat sort of thing and they ask like out of pocket things. I'm like, no, I'm going to keep it like lighthearted and fun. But thank you both so much for joining me on this podcast episode. It was so great to talk to you both. All of Ceice, Elevate, and 4114 social media can be found in the link below, as well as all of the Cope socials. So make sure to check us all out because we have some amazing content coming soon. Thank you both again for joining us, and I will see you all in the next episode.